this point, I think we are quite done with listening to the Dota 2 soundtrack and listen to T-Panda and Kips take you through Infinity versus Omega Gaming. Welcome, everybody. We had a long break, but I hope you guys are rejuvenated and prepared because this one, well, we have an undefeated team versus a middle ground team, at least in terms of numbers and statistics and standings and whatnots. I think we can't throw everything down the drain, though, because Infinity looks strong, hasn't dropped a single map so far. Can Omega do it here? Kips, what do you think? Is Omega going to be the opponent to snatch that first victory against Infinity?
It's certainly a possibility. They have some interesting picks. They flex this... oh wait, you don't have the draft up yet, no? They have some interesting flex picks. Ta-ta. One of which is this gyrocopter. They have some more options. They're certainly not as likely to just fall over in the laning stage as we saw with poor Team Unknown in the previous series that we had. Well, Infinity is going to have to wits about them. They are, of course, the big favorites here, but I don't think Omega Gaming is just going to roll over and hand it to them.
Yeah, I don't think anything comes for free, for sure. These two will definitely have to brawl their way through. Not necessarily a easy walk in the park. I think the last time we cast Omega Mingate had a pretty decent time. Which series was that, actually? I think it was against Wolf team, most likely. I don't necessarily remember exactly which one it was, but I have high hopes on this guy. I feel like Mingate played pretty well, but is he the same caliber? That's what Infinity is going to be providing here today with Parker and PP with their main two farming cores of the team.
I am very intrigued by this Magnus pick here, by the way. I think that after the Horn Toss stun got nerfed, a lot of teams got too allergic to him, as we see Alina pick. I was wondering where this lady was. She's going to be taking up a lane versus the Queen of Pain, most likely. Or to this Magnus if they swap him around. We have seen more offline Queen of Pain recently as well. But yeah, Mag these days, after the Horn Toss nerf, more of, once again, either a very fast farming core with good initiating capabilities, or of course, a side lane core that's going to help your main core farm. Really relegated back to that role, but you know, there are enterprising Magnus players who still make these skewer plays, and I love them all the more for it now that it is harder.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. I do like to see the Lina for Omega. Here we talked about the previous series. Why don't we see it in every series so far? One interesting factor, though, is we didn't get to see Weaver, the hero who has been in every single game so far. So I think Weaver was counted out twice. Yeah, Weaver was completely ignored in the previous series. So that means 36 out of 38. Do we see Weaver being ignored in this one too? Because, you know, I think Aghanim's buff would be pretty nice against LSA, against RP, removing stuns. Pretty useful though. But does he have the matchup? Doesn't look like this is going to be an easy one if he played a Weaver.
No, but like it doesn't really have to be normally, right? And I'm always fascinated by these phenomena where there's a break and it's like everybody over Christmas sat around and talked to their families and was like, man, I really don't want to play this Weaver hero anymore. And then they all come back and they start playing again, and
that's the topic we always had in our Christmas table.
Grandma's like, well, darling, if you don't want to, I don't think you have to, okay? You're like, and you know what? I don't need to play this stupid bug anymore. Yeah, I make my own destiny.
Exactly. Then there's Grandma in the tail. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but that's fine. You do you.
Bless grandmas everywhere.
Yeah, bless grandmas. If anybody has a Dota grandma, she's a keeper.
Oh yeah, I mean you don't get to choose your grandmas anyway, do you?
Yeah, but she's still a keeper. Like you take care of that lady.
Do you think we're going to get to see a Dota grandma in the game though? Because Snapfire is one of those heroes that was also extremely highly contested before, and I have seen her in China, I have seen her in Europe, but so far.
You could pick it now for Infinity and go Snapfire Magnus. That would work. If you put Magnus as a 3, Snap as a 4, you have a cookie stun into Skewer, which is pretty handy because you get. It's kind of like a. How do I put this? animation-wise, it's like a reverse horn toss.
Yeah, yeah.
You throw the
You
Magnus
set 'em,
instead
then
of
you
Magnus throwing
walk
the
around
hero.
'em.
Yeah, exactly. So you throw the Magnus in with a cookie and skewer it. Please give me Grandma. Let me be right. Let me get this prediction correct. Give me Grandma. No, that's a different type of granny. Well, Bane, at least, a pretty decent pick here for Infinity. Good lockdown for the Lina, especially. And if you put this Gyro as a core, I think Bane's going to have a pretty good game, at least so far.
Yeah, I don't think he's particularly interesting in one way or another here. It's a solid setup for a lot of these spells from Infinity. It discourages, Omega Gaming for actually grabbing a Soul Initiator here, and they already probably have a Soul Lina or a core Lina, so it's getting that much harder for them to fill up their slots again with enough people that you can actually jump a Bane, and it puts Omega in this weird passive place where whoever they're going to start to have to run at people instead of just jumping, because you can't lose connection to your backline. If there's nobody behind you who can immediately stun the Bane, you're screwed.
That's also one great way to cancel Fiend Script. Very big AoE silence, so even if you're glimmered up, there's a good chance you're going to silence the Bane. Another way to silence the Bane, and that's also pretty good against the co-op now too, so they have an answer to this Queen of Pain.
Oh, and these co-ops absolutely hate having to build defensive items right now. I think we see some of them when they're really balling out of control, rush the BKB, and then go for the something like the Shard, Shivas after to really clear these waves. Other co-ops, of course, still the old Orchid build, but what they're not wanting to do is build Eels.
And it's also coming down to like the discussion we had earlier on with the interviews. We talked about Kaya and Sanj being such a strong item currently, which is very heavily favored by almost any mid laner or off laner, at least the current ones in the pool, which are being played. Kaya Sanj is such a great item to have as your first item on almost any hero.
Dire's ban. Ember Spirit.
Not necessarily this guy, but you could make Kaya Sanj work on an Ember Spirit too. Though it works nicely with the Magnus Empower, giving some extra damage for Slate of Vista, so he's a melee hero, so he gets a big buff out of it.
I would actually be pretty excited here by carrying Magnus and then a co-op off lane.
Yeah.
But I presume it's going to be the other way around, with co-op safe lane, Magnus off. I think they have all three of their cores already.
Yeah, we'll see if they do. I think that's what Omega's trying to figure out here. They're thinking that there's some supports in Infinity's draft that's still missing another core. This is a pretty free Ember game right now, because if you don't get hit by LSA, you're not going to get hit by anything of these. Sky obviously still has a good silence against the Ember, but Ember's distancing is hard to catch, and you're more likely to die as a Sky than actually kill the Ember as a Sky.
Yeah, it's a bit who sees the other first, right? If the Ember gets on top, the Sky is made, Sky is dead. If the Sky can be in the second line, then Ember actually has a really hard time going in. But, you know, maybe the co-op's already in, and then the silence is spent. You can do whatever you want.
I'm just thinking, who kills this guy? Is it just Magnus and co-op with the bursts and Ember with his high damage output too? Because the further the game goes, Sky's positioning becomes a lot harder. He's still as squishy as he is, and you talked about Ember scaling a lot faster than like some of the other Spirit heroes because he has that physical damage, which keeps on improving. That's gonna be an issue for the Skywrath to stay alive. He's got that high movement speed, which is his only perk, really. You gotta live with it. Fast as a chicken, like they say.
Free chicken.
Man's
the definition of a glass cannon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Offlane bans. Is this the Centaur now? Because there's a lot of offlane bans.
Possibly. Unfortunately, the Kunkka is out as well. No, there's no illusion heroes in the game yet.
Yeah.
We don't do it.
Yeah, you don't pick Underlord into but you could prevent them from getting anything like a Phantom.
Yeah,
the
problem
he's already
is
banned, but
the problem is that normally when you do these picks, right, you need to be really sure that an illusion hero would completely wreck your draft. Because they're going to pick something else that's going to demolish your Underlord. It's just not strong enough right now, so it needs to be worth it in order to not get wrecked completely. which is, it's unfortunate that the hero is in that place. I do think it's very interesting. And I would have given a lot of money to see the actual portal appear in pro play, but we haven't gotten there yet because Underlord is in the bin right now, and he's at the bottom of the bin.
Well, this guy works against both Illusion Heroes and Basic Heroes. Sand King, Santa King, it's always a nice pick. Pretty stable last pick too to go for.
Anti-mage.
But I don't think you saw this one coming.
Definitely not.
Pretty good anti-mage game if you ask me. Looking at the support Queen of Pain. Is that a Quap Magnus lane?
Yeah, it looks to be a Quap Magnus lane.
Oh. Fair enough.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
I have my doubts about if they're going to be able to punch through this Bloodseeker though. I think this BS is actually going to have himself a pretty decent lane. He's got a lot of sustain. And this Gyrocopter is actually versus a Queen of Pain. I think he's going to do rather well in the trading department. So probably both safe laners off to a pretty good start here. And then, of course, over on the mid lane, Ember Spirit can't actually stop off Alina. Nobody can stop off Alina. But depending on if you you make sure to position yourself correctly, so she can't go LSAs against you as all, and she just has to spam out the wave, she's going to give you a lot of last hits under tower while she goes away to clear her side camp. So it's not like you lose this lane, or you have to lose this lane as the Ember Spirit either.
So, who's going to take game one, Kips? Who do we lean on with these drafts? Infinity definitely has a bit of flair. They are undefeated so far. Easy to pick a winner in this case, but is Omega capable enough to take the first map?
Omega's got a nice brawling lineup, but I got a feeling that it's going to be hard to get this Bloodseeker to snowball hard enough that you don't eventually get stopped off by the anti-mage. Like, that is the be-all end-all pick here, and I certainly think that he's got himself a good game for the late game, so I'll give it to Infinity for this one.
Not a bad idea. Oh, we're getting some telephone interference. It's that's a sound I have been missing for quite some time. Not sure if it's coming out of Kips's microphone potentially. Might be somewhere in my. I'm not sure who put the Nokia 3210 into the server somewhere.
Says the Finn. Where is this Nokia sound coming from?
Yeah, where is it coming from? It's definitely not coming from here. I have a OnePlus. I do not have a Nokia. Anyway, quick pause. Nothing too special here. One ward placed down. Starting items. Queen of Pain starting with a Sage's Mask.
Yeah. A nice build up towards the urn. So really going to add a lot of damage to that lane and kill potential as soon as she gets that up. There's actually quite a bit of spam potential here as well. The Magnus is, he's got both the energy booster for the boots of mana as well as the soul ring already. So they're going to look to really bring the spam to this Bloodseeker.
Yep, mana. Nothing on the quick buys here for Omega except for the Sand King. He's got himself a bracer, soul ring. Very standard issue.
Yeah, in the lane versus the anti-mage, you really want to just tank up and make sure that you don't lose the lane while he's emptying your mana pool. And after your mana pool is empty and you got that soul ring, you can actually have yourself a decent time. He just needs to not be ahead too far by the point that you're there.
Yeah, I agree on that. Well, let's see what Omega can do with this wraparound. Mingate already in the river. He should be able to see the Bane. Sean coming in from the side. J. Mari's not quite in range for a stun. At least the Gyrocopter is going to do a quick drive-by. But Seeker Silence does actually hit the anti-mage on the edge. Instant D-ward too. Very well-placed sentry.
Yep, I think they saw a projectile flying out there from it might have been the Bane while he was in the trees, and they should not have had vision anymore. But it's a good guess.
They're also pinging the cliff ward. They know that it's there. So Infinity should be able to get the D ward at least, even if they lost one of theirs. So we're only going to have 2 active wards on the map for our first minutes.
Bane's got to get it right, though. He's going right for it. But yeah, it's going to be expensive to buy that next sentry if it doesn't get this one.
Yeah.
He's for Sand King. You gotta have yourself a sentry at the ready.
Even a master falters. All you have to do is let me in.
Well, at least with our couple seconds, we actually get this laning stage rolling out of the way. Queen of Pain going up against Alina, very classic mid matchup in a sense. But I don't think there's too much out of the ordinary. I want to see how this co-op Magnus lane rolls out for Infinity. Since they're up Bloodseeker, you said that they're going to be spamming abilities a lot. Maybe looking at the co-op build too. Like, are we going to see Max Dagger? Does he want to pick up any points for Scream? So I don't know.
Yeah, it should be mostly Shadow Strike levels. Maybe a Blink. And then really depending on how the game goes, you can either start leveling into the Scream or the Shadow Strike.
Yano with this Magnus already picking up his Shockwave to start things off with, so no Empower. That also does agree with the ability spamming here. Quap already dropped to half HP. Chan with a support Gyro, dealing some decent amounts of hits here. But neither of these heroes is the greatest right-click when it comes to the early 2-3 levels. But Quap, if you look at this, 3.4 int gain, that's like 7 damage every 2 levels. So that's a very heavily scaling right-click for Quap. Plus the abilities, of course, on top.
I mean, the Gyrocopter in his turn gets 3.3 agi per level.
Oh, is that first blood in bot? It looks like it might be it. Yes, it is.
Oof.
What a kill. He goes a little bit too deep. He was hit by Caustic Finale. Just gets stunned up from Burrow Strike, followed up with the Silence. Couple right clicks in. And these guys, well, Sand King and Sky, they definitely hit a whole lot harder than what the Gyro and the Quap do in the top lane. So that's a first blood for Omega. Very important one too, because it's on the anti-mage.
Slowing him down will especially help the Sand King out with staying in the lane, because again, we have this problem here with if the anti-mage is allowed to stay in the lane, he's going to drain the mana pool, going to deal a lot of damage to this SK. So you know what? If you just have enough kill threat on him, he won't actually be up in your face all the time.
Yeah. Sounds about right. AMs don't necessarily have the most fun time when it comes up against Sand King. I don't feel like a lot of heroes really enjoy playing Sand Kings in the lane. Unless your support is very aggressive. Bane is not getting to play as aggressive as you would kind of hope her to be, because, you know, Skywrath is just simply a much better harasser. So that also kind of weakens the potential of your carry too, with the +4 is beating the +5.
But you gotta position up on the Bane.
Yeah.
Otherwise
you always see a lot of these. Okay, now he's very alone right now, and that's actually going to lead into the Skywrath having to intervene. There's another kill happening in the top lane. That's 2 already. But that's also going to be a dead Sand King, because he does actually get himself a Sandstorm out in time. He hit level 3 while Bane was trying to get the kill. Ow, 4 HP. How?
Oh my lord.
How does this go so close? Meanwhile, at the top lane, I think you were watching that situation. What
yes,
went
I
down
was.
there, Kips?
They basically dove on a missile that had gone very far in, and unfortunately got themselves punished. Mingatti was 1 hit away from last hitting the Quap Pamplona, but unfortunately for him, he went down first. That's a great time for the Magnus, who is alone now, though. The Quap has shown mid.
Yeah, he's able to skewer himself back under the tower, at least. He's holding on to 2 points currently. He's still opting, should I go for Empower? Do I need more points in Shockwave? And he goes for the double Empower, so he's made up his mind. But yeah, basically bot lane was just very, very close quarters. The Sand King able to get level 3 while being killed. He gets his Sandstorm off, and then Bane able to run out and gets 4 HP. 4 HP more than 0, so he didn't end up dying.
The only point that matters is the last one.
Yep, that's it. Quick maths. Bane.
This is how I avoid maths.
Shadow Strike is there. Bane, he does have Nightmare, but he's going to use it. Oh, high ground miss. Not going to be a second one, though. And obviously, Skywrath, 370 movement speed. You're not running away from this guy.
At this point, Lissax is very happy with this lane. Cross the hump. It's going to be flying in. Yep, that's Sol Ring right now. And the anti-mage, he had a Vanguard queued up until now, and I was going to bring that up, but luckily he switched out to just the upgraded boots. Because otherwise we were going to have words, Parker.
Classic caster banter. Bamboozle them a little bit more. J-Mari, LSA stun.
Nice dodge.
Dodges it as well. Sees the cast animation go off, so PP able to get himself back to safety. Shadow Strike doesn't quite kill J-Mari, but he's playing with his life here. 15 HP. He's not gonna die to these as long as he keeps his distance. He's not gonna go all the way back home. That means that Ember is gonna get a free lane. He's gonna hit level 6. He can even go to base to pick up some items if necessary.
Yeah, 6 first for Zelina. That's great news for him, and it costs relatively little interference from the supports.
Yep, 6-minute action rune's about to spawn too. And there is 3 heroes in the bot lane currently. Magnus is allowed to solo farm with his 3 points in Empower. Nobody's going for action runes, they're looking for kills rather. Infinity, hunting Dark Demon. And that should be a dead Skywrath mage on the arms of Parker. Gods gave up casting for this.
Man. But he first gave up pro play for casting. That's the thing that a lot of people forget, I think, these days.
True. I think today is also where we're more focused on what can the new youth do instead of like having we've watched these guys play for a couple years and now let's see what they can really do when they come together, you know? It's a change of an era, so it's definitely a whole different time that we're living right now.
Team Spirit changed a lot, man. I think a lot of it is thanks to the fact that they got to grow as a team for 2 years without getting anybody poached or any interference from other teams, because everybody held on to their rosters. And I think that really gave them the time they needed to build this.
Yeah, I think they had only 2 player changes. They had Sobad, and I think there was somebody else. I don't remember exactly.
I think they got Toronto Tokyo in later. Because I briefly managed a team with like a total nothing stack with Toronto Tokyo on it.
Yeah.
And he was very clearly ready for the big leagues already. He was not very interested in dealing with that.
Yeah, no more growing up. Now it's time to take the next step. But that's what players also do. They decide that they're ready for it. They get the chance. And Mariano ruptured up. It's going to be a kill on the Magnus. Or is it? Yeah. A lot of TPs coming in, though. Got to get there out. Got out of there quickly. Steal the car, the police will be on you. And Grand Theft Auto. It's successful on the kill on the Magnus. They trade a support for it. And Mingate is able to get out. So Omega, 1 for 1. 1 core kill for at the cost of the support. Not too bad. Bloodseeker second in net worth, 3,500. Not too bad.
Feeling pretty good. But it's definitely Parker who comes out the big winner. He did go for the Vanguard. I mean, I guess his intention is to stick in this lane as long as possible, but I don't think it properly does a lot for him in terms of getting to that late game unbeatable anti-mage state. Like you don't have any farm speed up from this. You're not going to play active with this, which is where I think a Vanguard really shines. It's mostly just to get to stay in this lane.
Mage in trouble. Epicenter. Gonna be a close call, but it's not gonna be enough. 200 HP remaining, and here comes Infinity. They're gonna punish these guys. We're jumping on our anti-mage. There goes the Mana Void. A couple of right clicks with the blink onto Dark Demon. Lissax. Well, there was really no escape, was there?
What did you learn?
No, never. But yeah, now we've got this anti-mage who's going to be relying a lot on his Magnus for the Empower. Because that's why the Echo Saber is queued up right now. He says, I don't need a Battle Fury, I got my teammate. And Magnus is going to be like, oh, fine. Because that's a big hole in his game.
He also able to get the action rune for himself, so that was a regen rune to bring the Ember back to full speed. John is scouting out some stacks. We did not get to see many. We did not get to see many stacks being made in the previous series, but now we're back to the farming. And with Infinity, Infinity actually has the least stacked camps of the entire group stage, pretty much. Like second last or last even, because they've just been. I think they've just been steamrolling their games. Win lanes, push objectives, go Roche end game.
Very brawly, as we can see by the start of these games here as well.
Yeah, no need to farm stacks if you can farm heroes.
Yep. But this draft is pretty dang greedy, so I like that they're actually looking forward to that now. Getting the Empower up on the Ember as well.
Yep. I think we can both agree that Omega should be applying pressure into the triangle. Yep.
Well, here they come.
Here they come, and PP's there, Silence is there, Rupture, yep.
Oh!
Everything, everything. He manages to farm the stack at least, but he still ends up going down for it. Mid tower also going down, Catapult is there, Mari protecting it. And the Glyph as well to keep their Catapult alive, so they even use their fortification for this. He's trying to go for the 9, doesn't work out. Mariano is there. RP is available, but it's just a gyrocopter. And he might actually die himself. He does. John is dead to Pamplona, but Mariano is also down. This Magnus is not having fun.
He is not. And now he's not even going to get to farm for himself and recover. Because both of his other cores are like, hey, empower me, empower me.
Yeah, empower me. I need this.
I did not get a Battle Fury. Empower me.
At least Parker's feeling safe with his Vanguard pickup. Bane, he is looking for somebody to grip.
Somebody to.
Mari leading the assault in this bot lane. This is a pretty awkward tower trade, though, I have to be honest.
Yeah.
It's tier 1 for bottom tier 1. Not the best of trades, but they're committed to it, so they have to go for it. Now Mingate is in trouble. Bloodseeker surrounded by enemies. Fiend's Grip is there. Any cancel available. Mari, he's so far away. Gets there in time and actually keeps Mingate away, as that Rupture will buy some time. It will take down the Bane and keep the Seeker's life still up.
A little bit of a greedy move from Omega there. They have several really great tower holders. Between the spam of a Sand King and of a Bloodseeker, you don't actually have to give up that middle tower. But they were very focused on getting the bot down and said, I think you can have your cake and eat it too here. I think you can have both.
Yeah, they were very committed. They were very committed to taking that tower down. So they were like, hey, let's just put enough meat. What am I saying? Enough meat in front of the tower. It will fall eventually. But it also did come at a cost of their mid-tier 1 tower. Omega smoked up with 2. Sky and the Stark Demon and Lysix both hunting for somebody. There's an Ember Spirit behind the trees, but I feel like they have seen this smoke, or at least suspecting something's going on. Everybody holding their position.
Yeah. They get this nice deep ward down as overview of several camps that I'm sure somebody on Infinity is going to come and farm, because once again, it's a very farm-hungry lineup. Like, they went with a support co-op on top of a Magnus Ember AM. At least the Ember is going to have his Maelstrom up pretty soon, and that's where he can start making plays. But the others would really just like at least a full item.
Yeah, definitely would. 4 sentries placed inside the Radiant Triangle. They finally found the sentry that was blocking the Ancient camp. It hasn't been spawning in a couple minutes, since the last attempt they did was when they cleared the stacks. They killed the Ember, blocked the camps. Bit of an investment to keep those Ancients flowing.
I'm expecting the game to go into a bit of a easier phase here, a little bit less busy, as the Sand King would like Eulze, the Alina would like to finish off her BKB, and of course we have the Bloodseeker, who'd probably want to BKB as well, but already has his Maelstrom up. So I think that Omega, apart from the passive pressure that they can put in with these BOTs over on the Lina, is going to take it a little bit easier for now.
Yeah. So, Give me a school grade of 0 to 10 with this Vanguard Echo Saber build for the anti-mage. Just give me a number.
A 5.
Okay. That's
Like,
that's harsh.
It would be a lot better if you don't have an Ember Spirit on your team.
You have
But right now
Empower
you
from
have-
the Magnus.
Yeah, exactly. And both cores want it. So, if the Magnus gives both other cores what they want, he does not have a game. And Magnus is not actually a utility offlaner. Magnus needs items in order to do anything at all.
Yeah, I guess this is the point where you start transitioning one of your supports, like the Queen of Pain, potentially into a pause 3. Who's building a Spirit Vessel. She's got 12 last hits. She has 1 point in Scream of Pain. Nah, Creeps ain't gonna die that easily.
No. She can supplement, but it's just... It's just so tempting for both of these heroes to be like, alright, there's a Magnus on my team, I can go farm now. But as you can see from the way that Omega doesn't even have to play flawless in order to be 4k ahead right now. And they keep on taking terrain. Gyro finds the TP.
Yep. Gyro finds an Ember. Ember finds a Gyro. All of Infinity prepared to fight. Lissex, Dark Demon. They fought. Ooh! That would have been a big Burrow Strike because that could have been a Sky ulti and a dead Bane. Instead, they missed their opportunity by a pixel.
As long as the Bane's alive, it's very hard to engage.
Yeah. That would have been a definite opener for Omega to start really pressuring down this tower.
This is an opener.
Oh boy, Laguna Blaze and everything, and J Mari's gone. Sorry, PP's gone. J Mari gets that one. Tower gone as well. You've just run out of firepower.
Look at Chan tanking, by the way.
Yeah, he tanks it like a man.
This guy on his gyrocopter, and I believe also on his Dawnbreaker, this man just says, alright, I have 1000 HP and they're going to have to go through every single one of them. Every single time. I really like how he's throwing his weight around, literally. Like that guaranteed a completely clean retreat from his team, a lot of vision, and in general just his core is very happy to already back off and not have to do anything dangerous under the tower. It just feels really good to have this man on your team.
Well, even with Vanguard, Echo Saber, a dead Quap.
Oh no.
Manta
A dead
and
Quap, yeah.
Yeah, Manta and Scotty is going to be the build for the anti-mage. Still going to build up into those bigger items as intended to. Scotty with mana burning Echo Saber. Yeah, it's a lot of slow.
It is. And the Bloodseeker is really not going to enjoy being Scottied up while he's trying to run around killing everybody. He's very reliant on that mid-fight regen in order to keep going. That said, this Bloodseeker has caught up to the AM. And now Lissex is waiting in the wings.
Yep, and it's the silence used. Lane ward placed down too, so they see Omega was just a tiny bit late to the party. Infinity's going to be able to disengage out of that. They're 5,000 gold ahead. So for Omega, this is pretty good news.
Absolutely. Zelina has a lot of space now. She hasn't had to use that BKB yet. They have been able to get most of the outer towers down already without her having to do anything really. And she's well on her way to a Lincoln Sphere. That's going to do so much work versus the Mana Void. Or the Fiend's Grip. They really don't have many ways to cancel that Lincoln Sphere out without using something very precious indeed.
Parker, without that Manta, he's got no way of dispelling the silence, which is really his big peril. So as long as that Manta is still not up, Dark Demon just needs to click one button on one specific hero. Magic happens.
You can also see in the net worth now how the fact that this Magnus has to hold hands with his AM all the time means that he's falling behind to the Sand King.
Yep, and still the Ember Spirit is not getting that much of a big difference compared to the other cores. It's actually very far behind. And Omega has also taken away their map control.
once again warding up the triangle. The only thing that Omega doesn't have going for themselves here is that they can't take Roshan all that easily.
Yeah,
Lina
Roche is
doesn't
gonna
have
be
any
difficult.
right-click items. Yeah. It's going to be a slow take against a lot of team fight and a lot of chip. So ideally, they really squish back Infinity some more before they even attempt it. But they can't go high ground without an Aegis. So this choke point is definitely there for their lineup.
Let's see what is on their minds right now. Omega doesn't quite want to push this tier 2 in the top lane yet. They technically could right now if they knew what the situation is, but they're also thinking about Roshan because they already finished off the top tier 1 tower, meaning that there's that 1 tower less to teleport to, and will be a bit easier for the Dire team to work this Roshan. But they're also not going to it. What is their game plan right now? Are they finishing off their next big items? Like BKB is still pretty far away. Lincoln's is far away for the Lina. Sand King just finished Yules. Or maybe we'll just find a random anti-mage roaming around this mid lane and Parker's dead. Maybe that's what they were looking for, and they're gonna get it. Pamplona on the run, and Bane not gonna be lucky with this escape. Doesn't take too many hits, and Omega find 2 kills. They're happy with this.
Absolutely. Maybe they look towards the pits. It's still so hard. The Ember and the Magnus together give enough vision that it's still kind of scary, but you're not going to get a better opportunity than this with the anti-mage dead. So yes, they will. But yeah, that's exactly what their positioning showed there, right? We want to Roche, but we can't. Oh, hey!
Look at that. That's the jackpot. Aegis with the Bloodseeker. Got is going to be happy with this. Another immortality for the Bloodseeker. This is still the first Roshan. This is not the second one. I believe the second Roche, we get the shard for the Bloodseeker, get the pure damage for Blood Rage. Works nicely against heroes like Magnus and especially Anti-Mage.
Yep.
Dire's top tower is being attacked.
And since it is percentage based as well, it scales really very well. And I think that some people underestimate that. I think Bloodseeker, since the shard change, is actually a very decent late gamer.
Yeah, that that Bloodseeker shard will make people shard. Mingate not gonna get to enjoy this Aegis. He never actually got the Aegis. It's on the Lina, as he's dead. So there's there's that. I think I was so fixated on the empty inventory slot on the Bloodseeker that he's gonna get it, and I didn't even look at that the Lina actually picked it up. And suddenly it's a 5 versus 4 fight. Mariano. Oh, they find J-Mari in the back, but the silence on the Magnus. He's not gonna get this RP out. Nothing. And then there's Parker. But they're not really focusing this anti-mage. They know that he's not the prime target to go for. They need to get rid of everything else. First Gyrocopter cooldown used. Dark Demon is down from the hands of Parker. And another one. Pamplona gets Chan. J-Mari looking for Bane. There's the Nightmare. He's going to be able to dodge the stun. And a secondary stun too. The LSA doesn't even hit, but the Barrel Strike is going to be there. And here comes BP. Just quickly comes to say hi and instantly jumps 180 degrees. Walks out from the high ground. And that's that fight. 2 for 2. And the Bloodseeker obviously died before that.
Yep. You can see that with the Lina not actually going for a Shadow Blade, they're actually quite lacking in damage during that fight. They really need the Bloodseeker to be around for that. So they were just dragging the fight, hoping that they could get their Sand King and perhaps even their Bloodseeker back in there. But a bit too long. Oh, they found J-Mari now.
Yeah, he's taking a decent amount of damage. RP's there. Protection is there too. Parker. Oh, the Sonic Wave is not enough to kill J-Mari. But this Lina also doesn't have any means of regenerating and healing right now, so they can't quite go for it. But the Rupture is there. They're following the trail. They're finding the Bloodseeker. Parker needs a bit more. 200 HP. Mingate is hungry for this, and Dark Demon is there too. And that will be a dead anti-mage. So this really hurts. Thinking about the epicenter too here. They found another target. Still has that epi. Sean low. J-Mari low. Pamplona also nearby. They actually get the kill on the gyro and get their 2 heroes back to safety on the high ground. But look at J-Mari. This guy has been fighting the last 20 seconds with less than 400 HP.
It's pretty insane. And he's just spamming clarities like right now. Like, yeah, if they come at me, I want to have another stun.
No fear, or at least doesn't give in to fear. Trying to bait out Infinity to make a play. A lot of abilities have been used on both ends. And a pretty important fight for Omega too. Actually, they get enough gold to accumulate 911. So I'm wondering if that is some kind of a state of emergency for Infinity. Not yet. I don't think so. At least it doesn't feel like it. They have been in pretty good control. But if they give kills like this away, then it is maybe time to start calling for some help.
Yeah, definitely. What I haven't seen from Infinity yet is a RP, honestly, a big one. They haven't seemed to be in control of getting a team fight to go in a way that Mariano can jump in after and get a couple of heroes that are already engaged. He always needs to be on the front lines right now. And that just doesn't feel good.
25 minutes in, 270 last hits up on this anti-mage. Parker has decided to change his Scotty into a Linken's. Vanguard has been removed. So he has a vitality booster with a Linken's Manta. A very defensive anti-mage build.
I mean, for him too, the Linken's is just too good of an item this game to easily pass up, but the fact that he doesn't have that Battle Fury to start off with definitely leaves him at a bit of a disadvantage here. And yeah, Mariano needs to come by again, pump him up a bit.
I actually kind of like the shovel on this gyrocopter because you could just rocket barrage the kobold. Usually, it's such a slugfest when you're like, oh, it's a kobold. Oh no, I have to right-click this guy like 5 times. Rocket barrage
Just
is
keep on
actually
shoveling.
useful. Yeah, keep on shoveling those pesky little minions. John, trying to find somebody here in this top lane with the help of Mengate, but there's a lot of Infinity heroes. Actually finds the Queen of Pain in the trees. Meanwhile, look at the backline. Dark Demon's already gone. Very fast kill for Infinity. Getting the kill on the Skyrath Mage. Now it's a 5 versus 4. The defense of this tower just turned into a very difficult mission. And Rupture into a Linken's. You thought Counterspell was there, but yep. That's an ulti tanked. John called that. That's another ulti into nothingness. That does nothing to PP. What's going on here?
They're hoping not to have to use the Skyrath buyback. And also, they're hoping not to lose this outpost. Which is something Omega have up until now avoided.
Yeah, like they're trying to slow them down, but inevitably they're not able to. This tier 2 is still going to go down in the hands of Infinity, and that's also going to mean their outpost gone.
Yep, and that means their rush control gone because they let that middle tower tier 1 fall in the beginning.
Bane already teleported bottom, hoping to find somebody, and a dire scan is used. This might be a good bait for J Mari. He's under a ward. You see him. Oh, he's got a face grip there, but the instant silence. Omega were ready for it. Bane thought that he had the upper hand, but instead, the 200 IQ play turns into a 300 IQ play by Omega. Outsmarted the outsmarter.
Feels bad, man. Oh, yeah, now you have J Mari on your bottom tower here with damage as well.
Honestly, I have to say that was a brilliant read. Because you could see from Bane that he wants to blow his abilities and he wants just one damage dealer. We're going to get a free kill on a high value target. But Omega was ready for that to happen. And they're looking for more. Listix doesn't catch anyone with the Burrow Strike stun. He's still got Yules. The silence on the Quap. Quap so dead. That's just a support though. Would like to get something more. That mid tier 2 tower's also up and running. Mengate has also bought his own shard, so talked about that Rose shard a moment ago. Roshan actually up in a minimum of 30 seconds.
And Omega once again putting the pressure on to see if they can force Radiant Heroes back.
Yep.
If they can get themselves enough space to do that Roshan, which they're going to check right now and find to be not home. And by now it's finally an anti-mage game, but it's taken about 5 minutes longer than it would have normally.
True. Yeah, Parker is still making it into a game.
Gonna have a heart soon.
Well, let's see if that Vanguard was all part of the plan. Because in the end, even if it does slow down your farm a bit, you can still disassemble stuff, apparently. Make it into a useful build, but look at this. Everywhere there's an enemy, and they actually got the Rupture, but that's just one. They need more. He's gonna TP out. He's in the hiding of the trees. Mengate is wasting his BKB and chasing a hero he can't get. Meanwhile, Pamplona gets the kill on Dark Demon. They also got the RP connected onto the Lina. Lina's in big trouble and surrounded. Guess they're looking to play to get one, but will lose her life eventually. Another ball is breaking loose here, and Infinity, they just got a brilliant fight for themselves because Parker is still up and running after tanking all those abilities, and Omega have lost 3.
Barely a scratch on him too. This is the ideal situation. If you build your anti-mage like this and then they focus you, hell yeah. That feels great. Like, they've lost all these previous fights by losing the Ember Spirit at the start, losing a Quap or a Bane immediately. But yeah, no, the anti-mage has a lot of defensive tools up his arsenal. So
it's paying off. If he's the one tanking all the abilities, might as well have all of that defensiveness, because Omega have been banging their heads on a wall. The Vanguard build seems to work out in the end. And we're never going to hear the end of it. Okay, that's one ability. Can't get the second. Was looking for the Rupture. Get the Lincolns off, but he still have the counter spell to worry about. 10 seconds for Roche to be up. Looks like the fairly fast spawn timer. 10 minutes, I believe. The clock seems to be pointing that way. And he is up.
And here's the smoke. They found a Bane.
Wrap around. Yep. Got Infinity's Bane.
No buyback either.
He just stunned himself with the Furrow Strike because of the counter spell. Pamplona. They've got a nice two-man route. Mengate. BKB has been popped. 2 heroes gone from Omega. They got Pamplona. 2 for 2. 3 heroes remaining on both sides. Chan is actually pushed and skewered onto the cliff. He ain't going anywhere. LSA stun. That's a stun that they don't need to worry about because it does go through Lincoln. But now, right now, AM in trouble. Jmari right-clicking away. The stuns is going to be there too. Do they get the kill? Yes, they do. Jmari gets Parker. Pamplona looking for some revenge with Mengate, dropping low on HP, but Pamplona's dead. Sonic Wave connects once again. Mengate coming back into action. A look at the damage. He does a PP! Oh my boy! Ember! Jumping it back and forth and getting those kills. He's got that fresh Aghanims. And would you look at that? He clears and cleans up the crew, and that's a team wipe.
I really thought they were toasted. Just the sheer damage output of Jmari there. No,
what a jump as well. Like, he was jumping out, but he still decided to put Remnants down to come back in, and he pumped out that maximum damage that he could. He went all in on it, and it paid off.
But they don't get to do Roshan right now. This is a reset at the best.
I can't wait for round 2, though. This is some pretty entertaining Dota right now, with the situation being pretty even. Omega was leading for quite some time, but still, Anti-Mage was an issue. He finally got the kill on him. He now has a, I think he disassembled something.
He disassembled his Echo Saber and reassembled it.
Yeah, so just for memes, I guess.
Just see if you're still paying attention.
Yeah. I was looking at it. He was disassembling an item that he already had. Heart is now there. 3,600, 3,800 HP if he power trade shifts. And they have just used everything on this Ember Illusion. Goodbye, Sky. It becomes such a hard game for him to play. Lotus Orb on the Sand King. He's got his Blink available. Parker. Look at this Brawl Fiend script. Look at the positioning from the Bane. And nothing to stop the Seeker from dying. And he is dead. John in the trees. Gyrocopter is also going to be gone. Don't even need to use the Mana Void for it. And Infinity just found a really good fight for themselves with, what, an Ember Illusion just randomly strolling around, tanking a couple abilities. Hey, let's go for this one.
Yeah, and especially the vision that it gave. I can't believe that Omega was... They can't give up the positioning, right? They need to deal with it, but at the same time... This is not the way, spending several of your abilities in full view. And right now they're just using Parker as a battering ram over on Infinity. They've got all the evidence they need that there's no way Omega have enough damage to take him down. Unless he gets himself stuck on a cliff. So as long as he doesn't do that again, he's absolutely golden. They just toss him at the enemy. What can they do?
They do. Nice attempt on a split push here, J-Mari. Ulyssex gets the tier 3 tower out of the way as that Roshan falls on the arms of Parker. They're going to lose the Sand King for it, but at least they get some structural damage inside of Infinity's base. So they're not giving it for free. Still doesn't quite help their situation. Aegis now up on the Anti-Mage, and Anti-Mage also picks up a shard for himself, so Counterspell. Nice little damage reduction aura.
I think I'd like to see the Aegis on the Ember instead. We've already seen that they have no way to kill the Anti-Mage, and if they do things correctly over on Omega, they don't focus him. It's super hard right now to not focus him, because he also pumps out a lot of damage, especially on your Skywraths and your Linas, right? But there's no way they're going to be looking to take him down first.
Well, now they can freely just put the AM in the front and, you know...
Yeah, but I'm saying they could already do that.
Yeah, now they can just
he has
take
a heart.
nice cozy seat and let Parker do his thing. So, 4 versus 5 versus 1 Dota. That's what we're looking at right now. Abyssal Blade is his next item of choice. Standard on the AM books. We still get a reasonable AM build in the end, which we're happy to see. DD Rune also in the bottom half of the map. Plus, you have this Magnus and the Team Mariano. It's like, ooh, what is this? Should I leave this for my cores? Should I take this by myself? He's thinking about it. He's pondering. He's going back and forth. But it will go for Parker.
TP's on top of Chan.
There used to be a Jark up there.
There used to be. Now, what I think we're seeing here, honestly, is like this AM was always going to be big, right? There's a lot of magic damage in this game. His matchups versus the Bloodseekers, a lot of single target spells. Like, in the end, all roads lead to Anti-Mage here. And he just took a bit of a wonky one.
He also has a lot of damage with that DD Rune. So it's about a 400 damage that this Anti-Mage deals, even more than that. And he also has a second life. So what do you think about that? Bouncing back a lot of spells. So I think Dark Demon is going to be the one to die first out of these two. And a Lotus Orb on top. So that's a lot of protection for Parker. And they also...
Oh my god.
And they have the second Lincolns. Yeah, they have the second Lincolns as well from the Ember Spirit to apply on the Anti-Mage. So he's got 4 shields. 4 shields to kill this Anti-Mage. Of which...
So the only thing Omega can do is wrap around, and they're doing that right now.
Trying for it. This has to pay off. And there we go. Oh, yes! It's the creep wave! The poor creeps are getting stunned! Oh no! It all comes apart! J-Mari's down, and it's a beautiful fight for Infinity. They get everything out of this. Well played is called out too. Not the GG yet, though. But I'm pretty sure we're going to get it after this guy falls. Dark Demon is out. Team wiped in front of their base. GG is called. And it couldn't have gone worse to end things off. But wow. What an ending.
What an ending indeed. You can see that as long as Omega can make these pickoffs happen with the Skywrath mate, they have themselves a game. They have a lot of wave push. They have a lot of ways to at least keep this very farm-heavy lineup of Infinity down. But at some point, they needed to get the Roshans and they needed to go high ground. And even though J-Mari dove really deep with that Aegis, they never actually leveraged it into a Rax. And that's the point where the game is already starting to slip out of their fingers.
Omega had some good control of this game. Like when we looked at the earlier parts, they came out strong with the laning stage. Things looked pretty good for them. They had good control. I think they were making the right moves, pressuring the triangle, hurting the Ember Spirit, forcing Parker to go to this weird AM build that didn't look good for quite some time. Because, okay, he's tanky, but they weren't focusing the AM. But now that he built 2-3 more tanky items, then they start focusing him. I was like, wait, what? This equation starts to work for us now, and Infinity's kind of smiling in their if they're in a boot camp or wherever they are right now, because that kind of turned the whole game upside down. If they, like you said, the only way they could kill the anti-mage if he ends up cliffing himself is where he can't run from anywhere. He's just going to get hit by silences and stuns and right clicks and whatnots. But that was the only key for Omega at that point. So they ran out of damage. The game took a bit too long for them. Desperation kind of snuck in, and like we saw that in that last fight. Like, unfortunate to hit the creeps.
Yeah, but at that point, that's like, I really do want to emphasize that again as well, right? If at that point people say, oh, well, we could have won that if you didn't stun the creeps there. Well, there's a lot of points before that where they could have improved as well.
Yep, and that's
so.
An if.
Exactly. It's unfortunate, but it's more an illustration of the situation they're already in. Like, oh man, look at this misplay. Like, no, that's bound to happen at some point. So,
well, yeah, that's pretty much the story for Game 1. Infinity take the first map, still undefeated. Can they keep it up? Take a 2-0 in this series. We'll find out after the break.